Okay, so I played around with the lighting. I like this a lot better, so I'll probably do this setup for now on. Okay, so what it was like to be demonized or villainized. Either one works. For those people that understand me, they chose to shun me or villainize me instead of embracing me or getting to know me. Nothing makes me more happy than when someone I don't know decides that they know me and makes up things about me. What kind of person I am, what kind of person I will be, that kind of thing. And the Christians were notorious for doing that. The non-believers, not so much. It was Christians or it was judgmental children. I say that because they were young teenagers, my peers at the time. But they were children. I can say that because they weren't mentally prepared for life. They would fail in every challenge, they would fail in every aspect of life at that time. I didn't. These people did not understand life lessons, they didn't understand conflict resolutions, they didn't understand anything. They enjoyed being bullies, they enjoyed being these weak-minded fools. And they could never get a one-up on me, never. They would try, but they couldn't do it. Because no one encountered someone like me until they do. And for a small town like Corbett, yeah, it was nothing special. Nothing. These kids thought that they were all that because of status. And it's just like, you're out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, I come from the city. So there was a difference of background, a difference of things where I wasn't gonna fit in. And instead of people make me feel welcome at the youth group or other places, it was simply, you don't fit in, we don't like you, we don't want you here. Well, I went to the church though, they didn't. So I had some pull. The issue is that you come across people like that daily in Oregon, and it's not, well, it's a phase. They start out as children and then it goes away. No, these are how they're gonna be for the rest of their life. People don't change like that. And villainized by churches from the age of 10 on, it was just so soul-sucking that you couldn't allow yourself to remotely be the person that they associate you into. And it was all done by parents, adults. I have a hard time believing someone can be a Christian when they call an entire family poison. That's not a Christian act. It's not a Christian thing to do. And I can speak on that because as a pastor, I would have handled the situation a lot differently than the pastors would have. You see, my family thrives in conflict resolution. We thrive in understanding people. Pastors these days don't care about you. They don't care about that. They care about numbers. They don't care about personality conflicts in the church, which is funny because Jesus did. Peter was a huge personality conflict, and if you read the Bible, you understood how Jesus handled Peter with love, kindness. Some firm action was taken, with talks or whatever, but not to the point that he just, oh, well, that's just Peter. You just gotta accept him and love him, man. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. Everybody can bring something to the table when they have something that they're good at or something that they can contribute. When you bring fake skills or fake mindsets to the table, it's not authentic. And a lot of Christians, they pretend to be something that they're not. And that's why I lost interest in a lot of Christians, because they are only this way at Sunday, but throughout the rest of the week, they're horrible. And you can tell based off how their kids are, how their marriage is. I mean, there's a lot of red flags you can look at. But churches don't look at it that way. They look at it as, well, everyone's broken, and if everyone's broken, they need a church. But if you're not broken, if you're not in the gutter, if you're not drowning, churches don't agree with you. And so what the churches will do is that they will say, you're the problem. You got too much pride, you got this, you got that. And it's like, how dare you judge my walk with Christ? How dare you judge my walk with God? Who made you the ultimate decision maker? Well, the power goes to their heads, and they believe that they're all knowing now, and they're good judges of character because they have a status. No. Look at anyone in management right now. Look at anyone in any source of power or authority. Do they actually seem all-knowing to you? Do they actually see like they're... You know what I mean? I mean, my goodness. They're the ones that are arrogant. And being called poison was just... gross. Disgusting. And you call yourself a Christian. Okay. We didn't allow certain people's perspectives to cloud our judgment or make us react. We just went, that's your opinion, So, ultimately, here's what you got. You have a verse in the Bible. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Okay. So what happens if they're treating you the way they want to be treated by being a jerk or being rude or being, a bunch of other names you can probably think of? For me, I switched that. I changed it very early on in my life to where it was, no, I'm going to treat you how you treat me. So it's still biblical. It's just you flip the script a little bit, okay? So it's no longer treat others the way you want to be treated. It's that you treat them how they treat you, because it's the same thing. It's just worded differently. And so when I started doing that, I don't like consequences for my actions. I don't like this. And it's just like, too bad. Be a better person, or this is how you get treated. It's not hard to understand. So that's the way I did things. No tolerance policy, and just went after them. The way they treat me, I'm going to treat you the same way. I can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare. You decide. I'll play the villain in your story. That's fine. That's not my story. And mine's what matters to me. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you say about me. It's irrelevant. What does matter to me is my perspective, God's perspective, my parents' perspective, my family's perspective. That matters to me. Not you. Not the church. Nothing like that. So, with that in mind, that's how I started living my life. As a pastor, I flipped the script again. I said, wolves in sheep's clothing. Well, why not have sheep's in wolf's clothing? Well, that's what you got sometimes. You have a lot of sheep who eventually get a backbone, throw on a leather jacket, and they start teaching people how to be smart, how to be tough, think like the enemy, think like, a criminal, so that you can catch a criminal. No difference. It's all psychology. It's all philosophical. And it's all biblical. Because to know your enemy, you must study your enemy. It's no different than any martial art. Know your opponent. Study your opponent. That's what my dad told me, to be a student. Be a student of those around you. Be a student of the people that you care about. Be a student of your future girlfriend, your future wife. Be a student of your family, your friends, your teachers, your loved ones. Be a student. So I was a student and studying pastors, studying my grandparents, my parents, and I studied a lot of people. I studied the way they walked, their behavior. I studied a lot of stuff, and ultimately became a very, very powerful tool. I don't know if that was what my dad intended, it probably was, but the way I applied that saved me from a lot of issues because I could determine good influences versus bad influences, and that's why my heroes are simply ones that fall in a certain category. So, I don't like. I try and stay away from the anti heroes, which to me was ironic because for a long time I was one. But I had my own goals, my own morals, my own value system that I wouldn't break to go down that darker path. But I'm not afraid to be the villain in somebody else's story just because they're selfish and they can't remove the plank from their own eye. That's fine, you know. I know my motives. God knows my motives. God knows my heart. That's all that matters to me. So if I'm gonna make some people unhappy because they're too caught up in themselves to see reality, well then so be it. It's not really a villain then, is it? It's not really me being a villain. It's me being consequences. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely 100% okay with that. So, being villainized, being demonized, it just strengthened my resolve that I'm not the freaking problem. Because I don't live in delusion. I live in something that's structurally sound with facts, logic, evidence, and results. That's what I live by. That's what I look for. And so these people who don't know what these are, you'd be surprised how many people in this world don't know what honor is, valor, or principles. They don't know what principles are. It's like, come on. What do you live by then? What code do you live by? And I get it. I understand it. You know, they live by a code. They just don't know it yet. And the code they live by is selfish, self-centered, self-righteousness to the utmost, toxicity. They listen to themselves and only themselves because the only thing that matters to them is themselves. So being a narcissist is their code. So when you have different ideologies clashing because they were raised differently or because they grew up differently or some people raised themselves differently, you get a lot of different friction, and these are the people you can't be friends with. You can't be able to reason with them. There's no talking to them. That's why we have such a division right now. You have one side of morals, principles, standards, and structure, facts, logic. I mean, you can go into all of it, okay? They got all that. Then you got the other people who are selfish, self-centered, self-righteous. They lie a lot. They have no real structure, balance, or integrity. There's nothing to them. Okay? They're not a blank canvas because there is something there. But what's there is unsatisfactory. It's unsavourable. It's something you don't want in your life. So that's been my biggest problem is I wasn't attacked or wasn't faced against somebody with logic, facts, reason, everything else I listed. It's this other group of people. And if they stay as these other group of people, then I know I'm right. Because people who live in facts, reality, logic, etc., don't disagree with me. They may challenge the way I think. They may ask me, why do you think this way? And it's important to do that. It's important to challenge someone's beliefs so that you understand where they actually stand. Is it what they believe or they're told to believe? Big difference.